Today we're focusing on the Japanese diet. And the reason why we are is because they have the lowest obesity rate on the planet and the highest life expectancy rate. Their obesity rate is only 3%, and compared to America, where 30%, that's a 10 times higher rate of obesity in America. And then compared to France is 12% obesity rate. So Japan, yes, is definitely the lowest obese country in the world, and then the longest lifespan. So they're doing something right. They are lean machines. And so today we are going to talk about the difference between the Japanese diet and the American diet and why they are able to live life so long and so healthy. The first difference I noticed was the Japanese diet consists mainly of rice as their starch, and then when they do consume noodles, they're made of buckwheat or whole wheat. White flour is hardly ever used in their starch-containing foods. In America, our staple, white, enriched, bleached white flour, that's very common. And then potatoes is another one of our starch staples. The great thing about rice, and although the Japanese do consume the white rice version, it is a low-fat complex carbohydrate, so it fills you up very quickly. It doesn't leave a lot of room for you to be, going after sugary foods after your meal. And that's a lot of the problem when people do low-carb diets. They get hungry so quickly because carbohydrates serve to expand in the stomach and help fill you up, satisfy you so that you don't keep eating. So the point is that it's a complex carbohydrate. And their noodles are a lot of times made with buckwheat, which is a superfood, and I made a video about that. So they're getting all the benefits of the buckwheat, especially that it has higher protein and higher fiber. The next interesting fact about the Japanese diet is that they are really a vegetable-crazed nation. They are a veggie nation. And I read a survey, and the survey reported that Japanese women and their families reported their favorite meal, and I'm going to read it to you because it is so awesome. They said their favorite dinner that they like to prepare for their families, so in other words, they're cooking at home, they're not buying this out. That's another important point. But it's made of mixed vegetables, simmered in seasoned broth, and it includes red bell peppers, green beans, zucchini, eggplant, onions, burdock, tomatoes, green peppers, carrots, spinach, bamboo shoots, turnips, shiitake mushrooms, sweet potatoes, and seaweed. That is a mouthful of vegetables, and obviously their variety of vegetables is a lot higher than America, and it would serve us well to kind of take after their example. The next difference is that the Japanese consume 2 times the amount of fish that they do meat, and then when compared to Americans consume 47 times more meat than fish. And the great thing about the fish that the Japanese are choosing to eat is it's salmon, tuna, and sardines, which are all high sources of omega fatty acids. These are the types of fats that help to reduce inflammation. And that inflammation a lot of times will come from stressful lifestyles. So even if you do have a high-paced, stressful lifestyle which promotes inflammation, you can combat that with these types of foods, these fish that are high in the good kinds of fats. Another difference is the consumption of sugar between the Japanese and between Americans. The Japanese only consume 48 pounds of sugar every year, whereas the Americans consume 156 pounds of sugar every year. So, as Americans, we are consuming 3 times the amount of sugar every single year. And actually, it's coming out now that excess sugar, has more of an impact on heart disease and inflammation than actually fat does on heart disease. So that's a really important statistic right there. And then the Japanese don't even really like sugary desserts like Americans do. Their typical dessert is sliced and peeled fruit that's centered on a plate. And I actually have a friend that's Japanese, and she recently moved to the States, and she was just blown away by how much sugar is in everything. And she was saying how crazy it was because she said everything she ate, it tasted to her like it had sugar in it, that's actually the truth, unfortunately. But she just said everything tasted sweet. And then when it came to desserts, if they have ice cream, they may have a little scoop of ice cream, and then of course you can get this huge banana split, and she was just really shocked about the difference. But yep, I mean, it's true. Japan consumes a lot less sugar than we do. The portion sizes are a lot smaller in the Japanese diet. They actually take longer periods of time to eat their food. They chew more. They use chopsticks, which allows them to just take a little bit more time. I mean, it's really easy to shovel in food. You're on the run. But in Japan, the culture is very centered around enjoying and savoring the food experience. And so that aids in digestion. It helps you eat less calories and food in general, just because you give yourself a chance to feel full before you keep eating everything. Americans get around 30 different types of food per week. 30 different, specific foods. Europeans average about 45 different foods per week. The Japanese average over 100 different types of foods every week. So the amount of nutrients that they are getting, the different types of nutrient profiles that they're getting in their food is so large and it's so expanded that they're really able to provide adequate nutrition to their bodies just based on what they're eating. A lot of times when you are really centered on a few certain food groups, if you're a picky eater and maybe you only like 4 things, you are really limiting yourself to the amount of nutrients that you can get. So that's what's the great thing about the Japanese diet, is that it's so diverse and it's so varied that they are making sure that they get what they need. Another awesome thing is that the Japanese actually teach their children how to eat and what to eat. So they encourage all their children, and it's through education. They believe it's important enough to educate their children about nutrition, which I find fascinating. But they encourage their children to eat at least 30 different types of foods a day, and to aim for 100 different types of foods a week. So that is ensuring that they are getting enough variety. And I've run across it so many times that when children, and especially in America, they tend to be picky eaters. They really can live on like chicken fingers, French fries, and ketchup. I mean, I've just run across so many families that is their kids' staples. And I think it's really awesome that a culture is emphasizing variety as much as they do. And the beverage that is a staple for the Japanese is green tea. It's hot green tea. It's brewed. It's usually not sweetened. And the number one beverage in the United States, of course, soft drinks. And a couple of videos ago, I did one about cereal, and I talked about that cereal was the 3rd most purchased food at the grocery store. Well, number 1 is soft drinks. So right there, that shows you, between the Japanese diet and the American diet, why they are getting so much less sugar in their diet. Because they're not drinking soft drinks all day long like we are. They're drinking unsweetened green tea that actually does have antioxidants in it. So there are certainly some great benefits and some great advantages to the Japanese diet. And no, it's not perfect, but we can absolutely learn some things from their diet and from the things that they do, and we can apply it to our lives, and it can help us live healthier lives. We'll feel better. We'll just be better overall. And so I encourage you to take this to heart and start trying these out. On videos coming up, we're going to do one about coffee, the truth about coffee. Because you've seen the research, it has antioxidants, it helps increase your energy and your metabolism, and it's so great for you. Well, we are going to find out the truth about coffee. And then another video we're going to do is food advertising techniques. How food marketing is really targeted to manipulate your mind and really make you buy things that are not good for you. So we're going to really get down to the truth about how all this marketing has a play in the choices that you make on a daily basis. So I hope you've learned some important things today that you can apply to your life. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for leaving your comments, for rating the video, and keep watching. I'll see you next time.